Yesterday, on January 1st, the founder and creator of MarginFi posted on Twitter, hey, what if we launched the token? And so time may be running out to qualify for the MarginFi airdrop, but I think there is still a chance if you haven't attempted to qualify for it just yet. And so in today's video, I'm briefly gonna walk you through exactly what you need to do to qualify, and we'll discuss how much time there might be left, because on the MarginFi discussion board, they are still talking about the tokenomics of the MarginFi token and how it will be used for governance. And there's also an airdrop criteria thread where they are discussing how they will weed out people that are trying to game the system, including clusters of interconnected wallets, wallets with a negligible amount of points, and wallets who interacted for a very short time. And so given the fact that they're still discussing the tokenomics and the airdrop criteria, I think there is still a small window of opportunity to qualify for this MarginFi airdrop, but that window is quickly closing. And we can use the discussion here about how they will exclude certain wallets from the airdrop to make sure that we are not included in that. So briefly, what are these 3 points? Clusters of interconnected wallets abusing the point system. So if you take Solana tokens or other tokens on the Sol network and send them to and from different wallets that you're trying to farm the same airdrop with, it's possible that those wallets could be disqualified. So it's better to keep each airdrop farming wallet completely segregated and siloed. And if you're gonna fund it, send money to it from a centralized exchange so that it can't be actually linked to your other Solana wallets. The second point, wallets with a negligible amount of points. Now here, they are saying they are not going to exclude users who lend or borrow a small amount of capital, but they're talking about people who deposit a small amount for a very short period of time. And so it looks like they're going to exclude people from the MarginFi airdrop that were trying to qualify for the minimum amount of the airdrop by depositing like $5 for 5 minutes on the platform and then withdrawing it. And then this links to the third point, which is that wallets who interacted for a short amount of time. And so even for a wallet that made a $10 million deposit on the platform for 5 minutes, they're discussing excluding that regardless of the size because of the small amount of time that they deposited on the platform for. So this brings us to how do we actually use this information to make sure that we qualify for the MarginFi airdrop? And really, it's quite simple. Each wallet needs to be funded freshly from an exchange that cannot be linked to your other airdrop farming wallets. The second point is that you should try to make deposits on the platform and also to borrow, if you're comfortable with that, for a longer amount of time. Because if you're doing it only for a few minutes or even a couple of hours, a couple of days, there's a greater chance that your wallet address will be excluded from the airdrop than if you lend on the platform for a period of weeks or months. And since the window of opportunity to actually qualify for this airdrop is quickly closing, then I highly recommend, if you want to participate in this, to act as soon as possible to make sure that you don't get weeded out from the airdrop for those criteria that we just discussed. So in terms of the actual practical mechanics of how it works, this is the MarginFi application, and I'll throw a link to this down below. If you have absolutely no idea, MarginFi is a platform for lending and borrowing crypto assets. And there's a couple of different ways that you can qualify for the airdrop, but basically you have to either lend crypto assets or borrow crypto assets. So first, you want to connect your Solana wallet to the MarginFi application. And then down in the bottom left-hand corner, you can select if you want to look at the light version of the platform or the pro version of the platform. The functionality is the same, but it just looks a little bit more complicated in the pro version. And so this is how you lend or borrow assets on the platform. You simply select if you want to lend or borrow. You select the token. So if you have tokens available in your wallet, for example, I have some USDT, then I can supply it to the platform and earn a 10.5% APY on this. Now, I actually borrowed this USDT from the platform, so I can't lend it before repaying what I borrowed, but I can make a deposit of BSOL. So basically you select which asset you want to loan out or supply to the platform. Then you select how much you want to supply. So let's say I'm going to deposit the full amount of the BSOL. Then you hit on the supply button and it will pop up in your Solana wallet asking you to confirm the transaction. Simply hit confirm and that deposit has gone through. And if I scroll down here, I can see all of the assets that I'm supplying to the platform. So I've supplied some Blaze liquid stake SOL, some USDC, some MarginFi liquid stake tokens, and some regular old Solana. And I've borrowed some USDT. So I've supplied about $100 worth of assets and I've borrowed $20 worth of assets. Now, if you're trying to maximize the MarginFi points points that you collect. Borrowing is worth 4 points per day per dollar, and lending is worth only 1 point per day per dollar. However, it's obviously a little bit riskier, and you need to make sure that you're going to be able to repay the loan with interest. So be careful with that. If you look at the pro version of the website, it's actually the exact same functionality, except you can scroll through the entire list of assets that are available, and you can select which ones you want to deposit. If there is a little red 100, it means that there's no more room available to deposit that asset. If there's a red exclamation mark, it means that the deposit caps are approaching the limit. And so that will tell you whether or not you can actually make a deposit. So for example, if you wanted to deposit Blaze Sol into the platform, they are at 97.53% of the total supply cap, so you would need to do that pretty quickly. And if you want to borrow assets, it's a very similar process. You simply hit on the borrow tab, select which asset you want to borrow, and then hit on the borrow button. Now on MarginFi, you can do other things, including stake Solana for some liquid staking tokens, which I did. It's unclear whether or not that will actually be an airdrop qualifier, but it is possible, so you might want to do that just to be safe. You can also swap on the platform, but this routes through the Jupiter exchange, and so I'm less concerned about this. I don't think it's nearly as important for the airdrop qualifier. And the same thing applies to the bridging feature, because it's basically just pulling in the bridge from Mayan, and so it's not actually a MarginFi native product. But if you focus mainly on the lending and the borrowing part of the MarginFi platform, and you make sure that your wallets are segregated and that you keep some assets on the platform for an extended period of time, then I think there is a very good chance that you qualify for this airdrop. So good luck in this. Make sure that you do your own research and that you know what you're doing if you're borrowing crypto assets, especially because there are risks associated with this, but hopefully you do qualify for a decent airdrop, and I'll see you in the next video.